Happy April Fool's Day and welcome back into another edition of the Practice Peek, where it's finally starting to feel like spring here in Blacksburg, Virginia. The Virginia Tech football team just recently wrapped up spring practice number 8, and the biggest update coming out of this practice was that quarterback one, Kyron Drones, was not dressed today. Not injury related per se, just a rest day for him after long hunger drills and going through the first couple iterations of spring camp. So that's something to definitely keep note of as they keep progressing on through spring camp, but not injury related as relayed through Virginia Tech. Some other injuries though that we're seeing at practice, the sophomore safety coming back, Quentin Reddish, was in a boot, not dressed and didn't participate in practice. Definitely someone who was maybe even penciled in as a starter at safety. Big injury here in spring. So we'll keep note, being in a boot doesn't pertain to that much, could be back out there next Tuesday or for the spring game, but something to jot down. Along with that, running back Jeremiah Coney, Coach Pry pre-spring talked about how he was a little banged up. He'd been out there through all the iterations so far that the media saw. Wasn't out there today. Along with that, Ben Bell, the transfer D end, also wasn't out there dressed for practice. And then Jordan Bass, he was in blue, the transfer linebacker from Pittsburgh, still in blue, working his way back. So those were all the injury front notes that were new from today. Now moving on to the quarterback position, with Drones out, you saw Pop Watson taking those first team reps alongside Davi Belfer, and then the two true freshman guys, mid-year enrollees, Keldon Ryan and AJ Brand. I thought Pop Watson looked solid. You obviously got a good sampling size of him last year when Drones went down, so you kind of know what you're starting to get with him, but he's definitely put on some good weight and has progressed through this spring. Another small note on those true freshmen, like I was talking about, Keldon Ryan was taking more reps than AJ Brand today. They've kind of gone back and forth there at that position. Now shifting up to the offensive line, I know there were also some questions there about some injuries, but kind of put those to rest with Brody Meadows, Johnny Garrett, a lot of those guys out there. I thought they had good days, along with Laith Ganem at guard, Montavious Cunningham at guard, and Tomas Rimac as well. Sort of going to the other side of the ball, someone who I thought was having good reps against them was the Hampton transfer, Jazari Priester, on the defensive line. I think he's really shown up, put on some good weight even since the last time I saw him in winter. I think he could be poised to have a good spring, summer, and bring that into fall camp. He really looks ready to go. Now sliding back on the defense, some of those rotations that we saw going through the first time at the nickel position was the East Carolina transfer Isaiah Brown Murray. At the two safety positions with Quentin Reddish sidelined, it was the Rice transfer safety Tyson Flowers, as well as the New Mexico transfer safety Christian Ellis. At those two linebacker positions, as was sort of expected coming into the spring, Caleb Woodson and Jaden Keller sort of locking that down. And then behind those guys at the nickel position, surprisingly, was mid-year enrollee Knowledge Harrell. Looked like he was getting a nod there. The other two safeties behind Flowers and Ellis were the other two transfers, Sherrod Koval from Clemson, as well as Isaiah Cash from Sam Houston State. And then that backup linebacker duo looked like Caleb Spencer, and then sort of split time between George Balance and Brett Clatterbaugh. So as you talk about that linebacker position, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself in spring, but that looks like a position that the staff could sort of highlight and circle to attack in the spring portal window as they keep on rolling through spring. Lastly, some couple other notes. We talked to transfer D end James DeJoncum after practice, an absolute character. Make sure to go check out his interview on vtscoop.com. You don't want to miss it. Just absolute one-on-one personality. Really, really awesome player. And then also, it was a pretty big recruiting day, had a big recruit on campus, so make sure to go check that out on vtscoop.com as well. But for all the updates in and around spring for football, basketball, the transfer portal, everything and more, come over to vtscoop.com. Till the next edition of the Practice Peek, I'm Colby Crawford, signing out from Blacksburg, Virginia. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.